All right, so we're here at the Boulder Orthopedic Crit in 2020, first bike race of the season. And everybody's excited to be out. Actually, first bike race of the day. So this is the 40 plus 4, 40 plus cat 4, and the 50 plus cat 4 group. There's about 30 in this wave. And first race of the day at 8 a.m. So everybody's pretty excited to be out, and takes a lap or two for everybody to kind of settle in here. But it's really a pretty clean race, so kudos to the guys who came out, and everybody was obviously trying to race respectful and safe, and that's what we want. So everybody wants to come home in one piece. So starts out pretty docile, and I'm going to let it play here for a lap, just in case anybody in the future is trying to see what this course looks like, or just need to get a sense of what the course is. It's a triangle shaped course, as you can see on the screen. First time I've ever played around with power overlay, so kind of cool to see that, but very typical Cat 4 numbers. Average pace was, I think, about 25.5 miles per hour. My normalized power was about just under 250, which is pretty standard for a race file of 40 minutes. And so we'll let it run here. Nothing too exciting here on the first lap. This first corner coming up is the only sketchy moment of the race. Everybody just kind of crowds in really tight. And you'll sit right or wrong. You'll see I'm pretty vocal on the bike. I'm not a chatty Cathy, but I'm definitely I'll voice up if I feel like I need to in order to protect myself. But really, that's it. We're gonna let this run. We'll let it run through the first lap, and then we'll skip over a lap and pick it up on the next preem lap, which is actually on the third lap is a preem lap. So a little something more to watch. Here you can see kind of guys moving up around the outside, and I'm on the inside, and it gets a little bunched up here. That was kind of the only sketchy moment of the race. It didn't really look that sketchy on the video, but after that it was really, really clean. And so from here on, I just decided I wasn't going to be on the inside of that corner anymore, so I was literally on the left side, on the outside of every corner. I just felt like I could hold my flow better and wasn't at risk of getting boxed in. And as I eventually moved to the left and pretty much stay there the rest of the race, pretty much have freedom to move with 2 lanes of traffic here. There's lots of room to move around, and especially with a field of only 30 guys, and especially everybody here, so you can see, is really spread out, and we're not too tight. Lots of room to move as we need to. But the pace picks up here. So this is a downhill segment. There's only about a 2% grade up on the finish line stretch and about a 2% grade down here. I know it says 0 right now, but it's about a 2% decline. This pace picks up about 27 miles an hour through that chicane, and it's definitely not technical. It's very flowy. And now we're on a downhill section. The wind is coming out of the northwest at this point, so we're riding pretty much due west into the mountains right now. So it's kind of a wind from off my right shoulder, if you will. So I'm actually in the draft right now, even though I'm not right behind somebody. And rounding this final bend, super sweeping corner, straightens up for a moment, and then we'll make a right-hand bend. And it's about 10 more seconds at race speed. It'd be about 10, or at sprint speed, it'd be about 10 more seconds to the finish line after you come out of this corner. Here's the finish line. So that's one lap, and we'll go ahead and skip over here, and this is after lap 2, finishing lap 2, and you'll hear the bell here as we come through. And so that bell signifies a preem lap. So what that means is there is a prize. It's either a gift certificate or $10 cash. There's actually 2 preems within this 40-minute race. So as we finish lap 2, the end of lap 3 will be a preem, whoever's first across the line. So my immediate thought is, okay, we're super early in the race. I'm not going to lead anything out, but if somebody else goes, I will probably follow. And so I try to keep myself in position here to follow any kind of anybody who might want to go for it, and just see if that opportunity presents itself. Not so much for the $10, although I won't refuse $10 either, but more so just to kind of test out the finish and see what that last corner is at speed, and get a good sense of how long the sprint is after you exit that last corner. So it's a really good chance to kind of test out the finish line at speed. So, but again, I'm not going to lead it out. We'll just see if somebody else wants to take it, and I'll try and keep my eyes open ahead of me and behind me and see what happens here. Everybody else is kind of thinking the same thing. Nobody's really trying to go for it here. I wish I had some rear view camera. The rest of the field is just right there. I'm not working hard. You can see I'm right about threshold, kind of bouncing in and around threshold right here. I'm in the wind right now a little bit, but just keeping myself safe because, as you recall, I don't want to be on the inside of this corner coming up. I want to be on the outside and have lots of room to move around and just carry a lot of speed around the outside so I don't have to accelerate as hard out of the corner either. So 22 miles an hour is pretty slow. I think everybody's kind of looking at each other right now, so there's no urgency in the group at this point in the race. So again, I'm just slotting in, kind of looking right, looking left, looking at shadows at this point too. Fortunately the sun is behind us, so I can kind of, this is the stretch. If you're going to make a break, this is the stretch you're going to do it on. Any long bombers would break probably somewhere either before the chicane or just after the chicane. And then you can kind of get a sense of who's coming around. So if you just kind of look down a little bit, you can see somebody coming up on you. It might give you an extra second or two of jump awareness. But again, real spread out. You can tell, myself included, I haven't been in a group since March, so you can tell everybody's kind of trying to get their feet wet about riding in a group and just finding comfort again, getting on wheels and staying close and following wheels. So at this point, I'm just kind of looking. So we're in a tight bunch, but I'm looking. I'm on the outside so that I can move if I need to, and I'm looking at the guys on my right, seeing if anybody's going to jump off the front, and then looking on my left too to see if anybody comes around. And this guy on my left here, he is a horse. He had some big horsepower, but he didn't punch here. He just kind of rolled through like a diesel, and oh, there we go. And so there's some punch, and he goes. I follow. Had to jump on about 800 watts to stay on his wheel, and then kind of settled in here about 400 watts for a moment. And then as he picks it back up, here I come around. Had to drop another sprint. This is my sprint power. My sprint power is between 800 and 900 watts, so definitely a full out sprint there for the preem, and a good test for the finish. So we have lots of racing left. We're only 3 laps in at this point, and I think we ended up doing about 12 laps, but that's it. So that was kind of a fun preview of what's to come. And then here I'll skip ahead, and this is 3 laps to go at this point. It was all pretty boring in the middle, just kind of everybody's following each other around. No real attacks in the middle of the race. So here at 3 laps to go is kind of when guys are starting to pay attention, and nobody's really fighting for position, but everybody's just kind of aware of where they are. Unfortunately, this guy got a flat. Stinks for him, man, with 3 laps to go, but he was really good and kept good control of his bike, raised his hand so everybody could get around him safely. So props on that. And here I'm kind of, you can see I'm not pedaling that hard, so I must be in a draft. I thought I was kind of in the wind a little more. Oh yeah, I'm kind of back up to threshold now, but the speed's only 21 miles an hour, going up a 3% grade. So very kind of moderate pace. Everybody's just kind of saving themselves. Most of the guys here are probably in and around their threshold effort, so nobody's really wanting to go too early, but just staying aware of where the group is, looking for any kind of late race attacks. And that's the game everybody's playing right now. Kudos to this guy too. He was kind of rolling through. He was the only one I saw. Actually, I noticed it in pictures after the race that he was wearing his mask through the entire race. I'm not sure how he did that, but impressive nonetheless. How this race worked. Oh, there goes a break on the left-hand side. It's just an individual, and there weren't really any teams in this race. There goes somebody chasing him. So typically, what happens in a Cat 4 is somebody will break away. And unless there's a really dominant team or a strong team or big numbers, everybody's going to chase it down because nobody wants to miss the winning break. So I take a nice wide corner here, and that's on purpose too, just so I can kind of carry a lot of momentum. As you can see, I don't have to accelerate that hard to get back up to speed. And everybody's kind of accelerating out of this corner trying to catch that break. And you can see quickly everybody kind of funnels in and catches right back on. And unless there's a couple of really strong teams, an individual break like that isn't going to get away. So what I'm looking for here is really that late race break. Somebody going with like maybe 20 seconds to go or 40 seconds to go or maybe even a full lap to go. but I'm definitely staying aware of that. But you can see that brake quickly got closed down, then everybody just kind of settles back in here. We're going 30 miles an hour, but remember it's a downhill, even though it doesn't show it on the screen. Remember, I'm kind of in the draft here too, so I'm able to move up pretty easily without putting in too much work, and I want to improve my position. I don't want to be 15 guys back going in with 1 or 2 laps to go here. So this is coming up on 2 laps to go. The start-finish line here is about 100 yards in front of us, maybe 200 meters in front of us. Interesting, the guy in front of me, I loved his kit. WTE stands for worst team ever. He was actually pretty solid though, so fun team name. So there's the start-finish line, 2 laps to go. You can see the pace is picking up. Now we're going 27 miles an hour uphill. So kind of getting strung out a little more. You know, guys aren't 3 or 4 wide. And there goes that Diesel guy that I was telling you about earlier. He didn't really punch or pop so much as just kind of upped the effort. You can see him flick his elbow at me, and he had literally just come by me, and I had just gotten on his wheel. So he flicked his elbow, and unfortunately I had to tell him not yet. I didn't have enough gas to come through yet, and if he was going to lead it out, I was going to let him, because I suspected this late in the race we weren't really going to get away. So he flicked again, and now I come through, and you can see I'm doing over threshold here, but I'm not going to really bury myself or put myself too far into the red, because I know we're probably not going to get away from this group with only a lap and a half now to go. So I'm putting in a little effort to see if maybe we can get some distance, but we don't ever really get more than a few seconds. So I'm happy to take a little pull, but now you can see me starting to shut it down already. And the group will slowly claw us back. So it was really more just that was more an instance of I saw a guy going up the road and getting away from the group, and I didn't want to let him go. So if there was an opportunity for 2 of us to get away, that was a good play for me. But we just didn't have the legs to really get away from the group. Everybody's pretty motivated, first race this season, and it's Cat 4. That's what you would expect. So I swing out wide and I'm going to let the group catch up and come through. So the group's back on us now, and now it's just a matter of kind of settling in, and I'm not going to drop to the back. I'm recovering and didn't really have to dig too hard there, so I can slot right back in towards the front of the group, and I'm definitely going to try and maintain my position towards the front here with a little less than 1.5 laps to go. There's the Diesel again, so I'm happy to certainly slot in behind him and just maintain second wheel. And he's keeping 29, 28 miles an hour. I'm more than content with that. So here we're coming through the start finish, and this should be 1 to go here. He's putting in a pretty big dig. You can see I'm having to surge a few times, upwards of 300 watts just to stay on his wheel. So for Cat 4, that's pretty solid. And there's the bell, last lap.
Unless you're on team order, save just a little bit.
So he flicked his elbow again, and again, it's just I'm not going to come through and lead the whole group out on the last lap. I'm gonna stay tucked in. So kudos on him for taking a really big pull and keeping it fast. But I wasn't going to come through, and
Yeah, they're all right there.
so I'm very, very measured at this point. So at this point, what I did is I accelerated just a little bit to cross over and get outside. Because remember, I don't want to be on the inside of this corner and get boxed in. So I accelerated a little bit and told the guys on the front, I'm not going, because I didn't want them to accelerate and close me down and keep me from having to stay on the inside. I literally wanted to just get in front of them and swing outside. and then I was going to slot back in. So that's what I did there. And again, more communication than you would typically see in higher level races, but in Cat 4, especially with the older guys, I think they appreciate that. I definitely appreciated the communication the other guys were giving me too. Everybody stayed safe out there, and that's all what we're all trying to do. Have a good, fun, safe race. So the speed here is about 28 miles an hour on the flat section. That's pretty typical. And so fortunately this guy was willing to kind of stay on the front, and I just kind of slot in next to him, and we're pretty much coasting at this point, just soft pedaling, holding 29 miles an hour. So this guy comes by me, and he's starting to put in some work. And there's a little bit of a gap here in this corner, so I'm going to slot right in on his wheel. I'm thinking he's leading out for one or two of his teammates, so I'm definitely going to take the opportunity to slot in. So you can hear me giving him some verbal encouragement about how they have him strung out. And I meant to say his teammate was on my wheel, and there he goes. So this is the winner. That was the winning move right there. He got the jump on me for sure, and that's all it took. It was just another second or two, and I wasn't able to close it down. In hindsight, maybe if I had dropped 900 watts right away, I could have closed it, but I was kind of thinking, all right, who else is coming through? You can see me looking behind me. And just at this point, he had already made that move, and I was gone. So now I know there's the third and fourth place guys are coming up on me close, so I really need to kind of pick it up. And all I have for a sprint at this point is 600 watts, which is pretty lame at the end of a race, but it was enough. Literally a bike throw at the end of the race for second place there. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.